and welcome to the newly built Sir Chris Hoy Velodrome in Glasgow, venue for the 2014 Glasgow Commonwealth Games. I'm Kat Cuby and we're here for the 2013 UCI Juniors World Track Cycling Championships. 32 countries have sent teams to Scotland with nearly 250 individual athletes for this major event on the cycling calendar. Great Britain's Lara Trott won a gold in this event as recently as 2010, and she went on to take Olympic gold in London, and we're certain to see future world and Olympic senior champions here this week. We spoke to double world champion track cyclist Becky James about the importance of this event.
I'm Becky James and I'm part of the Great Britain sprint cycling team, and I'm a double world champion. These are the future Olympic champions racing here and future world champions. Like, for the crowd to be able to go and watch such a big event in Glasgow, I think it's a must-see. You're not scared to take any chances when you're racing because you want to whip that jersey on. The racing's just as good as junior racing as it is as senior racing, and I remember racing exactly the same, and it's just different age gaps, so you'll see the most nail-biting sprint you'll probably ever see. There's definitely some medal prospects in there, and I don't want to jinx anyone, and I just hope they enjoy the whole experience, and if they enjoy the experience and they keep training the way they do, then we could definitely see some podiums up there. Oh, it's incredible having a home crowd whenever you're racing, like in Manchester World Cup and Glasgow World Cup, however full the velodrome is, and you're always going to have a full velodrome when it's in the UK because we have so much great support.
So how are the Brits going to get on? Well, we spoke to Matt Winston, British Cycling's Olympic Development Programme Coach, about his thoughts on the week.
The UCI Junior Track World Champs fits into the major events calendar as part of the UCI. There's not too many major events for juniors. You have the Track Euros and then the World Champs. So for us, this is our first and only major hit of the year. It's absolutely fantastic to have a home World Champs. For us, it's the experience of that as well. So for these junior riders to get the experience for home world champs as a junior is quite a big thing. Obviously the nerves will build for them, and they'll have to deal with that as part of the racing as well. Well, the point of our programme is to develop junior riders for our senior programme. So we're an Olympic development programme, so it's not all about winning gold medals here this week for us. It's about developing riders for the future. We've got plenty of good riders coming through. We've had some good results so far this season, so hopefully we may win a few medals, but we'll be concentrating on that development side of things also. Potentially they could be Rio athletes. I mean, if you look at Lara Trott, in 2010 she was junior world champion. In 2012 she was Olympic champion. So that was in a 2-year cycle. We're still 3 years from Rio, so there's no reason why some of these guys couldn't push into that Rio squad.
But enough of the talking and on with the action. Day one will see 4 events reach their conclusion. The men's and women's team sprints, the men's team pursuit, and the women's 7.5k scratch race. And it's that endurance race that we're going to start off with.
Still 22 laps to go in this Women's Junior World Champion scratch race. Australia staying there or thereabouts at the front of the race. That's Josie Talbot, number 103. And also a rider from Switzerland there at the front as well. So yet again, the pace picks up, and looks like Belgium now, who are making a bid to break away. Jessie Van Boekelen of Belgium is the lead rider, number 44, being reeled in, or attempted to be reeled in, by Luka Patriak of Poland. But she's dropped back down the string, but it's still the Belgian with the advantage here. 19 laps to go. Well, it's very difficult to try and go clear and indeed maintain that lead when you're on your own. No one to just give you a little bit of a pace and share the effort. So the Belgian, she's not being pursued in full speed by the peloton at the moment, so this could well play into her hands. She glances just under her shoulder as she comes along the finishing straight. And the main field busy looking at each other, so this is being capitalised on by the Belgian rider Van Boekelen. She has almost quarter of a lap advantage with 17 laps to go. So good support here for our Belgian rider, who is still on the attack. In fact, she's now in the opposite straight to the peloton. The Australian, Talbot, just glancing behind her to see if anyone else is going to contribute to the effort to regain the breakaway rider. But in the meantime, Van Boekel has still got the advantage. 4 kilometres remain in the 7.5 kilometre women's scratch race. And the advantage at the moment standing with Belgium. Now the pace has picked up in the main field. You can tell as they drop into the well of the track and stretch out into a longer line. That may well see the gap come down. But still not fully committed to chasing down the Belgian. So Van Boekel still carrying the advantage here. And the rider who is now trying to animate the move to bring her back is Huang of the United States of America, Sarah Huang. But again, she spends only a small time on the front before dropping into the middle of the peloton. And it is still our Belgian rider, number 44, Jessie Van Boekel, who is doing a great ride here, 14 laps to go. A couple of riders have looked as though they've been trying to draw the peloton out and chase her down, but no one committed to the move yet. So still just over a quarter of a lap, the advantage for Van Boekel. She must be tiring now. She's been out on her own for quite some time. And it looks like another attacking move here from the peloton. Jessica Parra of Colombia out of the saddle, trying to lift the pace. And Van Boekel here is now being pursued by the lone chaser, the rider from Colombia, Jessica Parra. Well, Parra has timed this move well and will make contact. Indeed, she'll go straight through the Belgian, who looks as though she may be a spent force here. So the advantage swings in favour of the team of Colombia and Jessica Parra. We've got 11 laps to go to inside the final 3 kilometres. Van Boekel still hanging on to second spot, but Parra of Colombia, the new leader, in those white colours as she goes under the scoreboard. Lapboard will shortly be down to single figures. And still the peloton hesitate. Now the moves start to come. As Van Boekel is finally caught. It's a brave move, but she couldn't maintain it through to the finish. And Kinley Gibson from Canada is the rider who is now trying to bridge the gap across to our Colombian leader. So if Parra can take this one, she's not far away from her 18th birthday on Saturday. Be a great present to take away a gold medal in these World Junior Track Championships. But still 2 kilometres to go. Parra, though, really did time that breakaway move well, and the main field are yet to make any real impression. Meanwhile, in second spot, it's still Kinley Gibson, with Australia moving into third place at the head of the peloton, Josie Talbot. So the lead rider at the pursuit line in the home straight is the rider from Colombia, Jessica Parra. And reaching that point now in pursuit of her, Kinley Gibson of Canada. And meanwhile, the main field just coming into the home straight. Lapboard showing just 7 laps remaining. And it looks like Ireland have lost contact with the rear of the group. That was Rachel Meller of Ireland. But the peloton are only still travelling at a modest pace, so she might just get back on. But in the meantime, the Colombian rider is almost in the same straight as the back of the main field, with only 6 laps to go. This is looking good for Parra of Colombia. Gibson of Canada still in second spot. Still the Australian rider sitting at the front of the main field, but the Colombian here has the back markers in her sights with only 5 laps to go. And it looks like the Irish rider will be overhauled by the leader when they come into the finishing straight this time. Head of the race is still the team of Colombia, Jessica Parra. And still hanging on to second, Gibson of Canada. So Parra does draw level and indeed passes the rider from Ireland. So your leader under the scoreboard with 1 kilometre to go. Jessica Parra, well, she attacked at just the right moment. Crossed and past the former leader, the Belgian. And look at this, Parra is not far away from making contact with the back of the peloton and gaining a lap here, which would seal the victory for her with only 3 laps to go. Parra of Colombia It's got the rear of that group in her sights. She is the leader on the track. Remember, second spot is the lone rider of the pursuit line here, the rider from Canada in the red and white colours. But Para of Colombia, all she needs to do is sit there because she is the head of the race with 2 laps to go. 1 lap ahead of the peloton. So Para of Colombia looks a favourite here for the first gold medal for Colombia of these championships. So we're into the final lap when they come round here. And the Colombian rider getting the bell, but she is the head of the race. Second place across the line is still Gibson of Canada. And here's the charge now from the main field for the bronze medal. And on the line, it looked like that was taken by the rider from Denmark. So what a superb ride, and a gold medal for the rider from Colombia, lapping the whole field and taking the victory. Jessica Para of Colombia is a winner of the women's 7.5 kilometre scratch race.
An early birthday present then for the Colombian, 18 on Saturday.
So victory for Colombia, silver for Canada, and Denmark gets bronze.
So back onto the track now, and more racing for medals as we turn to the final stage of the women's team sprint. First of all, the ride-off for bronze with these 2 women teams. And the bronze ride-off will be between, in the home straight, Korea, Yeon-hee Jang and Soo-jin Kim. And in the back straight, Germany, European silver medalists just a month ago, Doreen Heinze and Lisa Klein.
Korea home straight, Germany back straight, the ride for the bronze medal in the women's team sprint. And both teams successfully away from the starting gate. Approaching the completion of the first half lap. The Koreans were the fastest in qualification earlier today. Only 4/10 of a second though separating the 2 teams. That may sound like the blink of an eye, but it can make all the difference in these team sprint competitions. Riders into their second rider, who will complete the distance and record the time. And this will be close on the line. Korea home straight, Germany back straight. And it's the Koreans who take it with a time of 36.153 and the time for Germany 36.311. So the bronze medal in the women's team sprint goes to the nation of Korea.
But let's move on now to the Big E, the one for gold and silver in this discipline. This is the final. In the home straight, Australia, represented by Tian Beckett and Tenille Falapi. And in the back straight, European gold medalists just last month and the current world record holders, Russia, with Tatiana Kiseleva and Yekaterina Rogovaya.
So just over 2/10 of a second separated these 2 teams in qualification earlier today. Australia, Beckett and Falapi, and Russia, Kisleva and Rogovoya. And it is the Australians who started in the home straight. Taking a little closer order here, and it looks like they'll get to the line first and make their change. So here we go with Falapi riding the final leg for the team of Australia. And the rider for Russia is into her final lap as well. That's Kiseleva. And at the line, Australia, I think, get that one. Yes, they do. Confirmed 35.344. Still very close indeed, but still coming out on top of the Australians, beating the Russians into second place. So gold medal for Australia, and the silver medal will be taken by the team of Russia.
we now move on to the ride-off for gold and silver. And it's a rematch, albeit with different riders, with the two nations who took part in the same World Championship 12 months ago. In the home straight, the reigning champions at junior level, Australia, represented by Jack Edwards, Joshua Harrison, Callum Scottson, another one who's got a birthday coming up, he was 17 on Saturday, and Sam Welsford. In the back straight, their Antipodean rivals, New Zealand, who faced them 12 months ago in New Zealand and took the silver medal. They are represented by Liam Aitchison, Regan Goff, Joshua Haggerty and Connor Stead.
So this all Antipodean battle here, Australia versus New Zealand. Australia in the white colours, New Zealand, as you would expect, in the predominantly black colours. Coming round to complete the opening lap. This, of course, the battle for gold and silver medals. And reflecting on the qualification times this morning, it was Australia who went comfortably faster than New Zealand. But that's not always necessarily reflected when we come to the final ride. But New Zealand on this morning's form have got their task cut out here. So it's the Australians taking an early lead here. Those changes neatly completed by each team at the start of their respective straights. Still Australia. And you'll note, if you look at the coaches at trackside, moving relative positions to that pursuit line to indicate to the riders where they are in relation to the opposing team. And that gap reflected by the position of the riders on the track, with Australia still carrying the advantage here. So New Zealand were the silver medalists last year. Australia, although not this team of course, are the world record holders in this discipline, posting that world record time a couple of years ago in Moscow. So it's an intriguing battle indeed. Still some way to go yet. 9 laps to go. And you can see the times on the board, with Australia at the moment doing the better work. So the halfway point reach for Australia, 2:04.977, 2:06.604 the time for New Zealand, so almost 2 seconds separating these two teams at the moment, with the second part of this team pursuit to be completed, the final 7 laps or so. So the New Zealand team really do need to find something here to try and even out this match, because the Australians at the moment have the upper hand, and that gap is increasing. Still all 4 riders for both teams fully committed to the effort here. And at the next check, 2:52.96 for Australia, 2:53.145, almost 3 seconds in arrears, the team of New Zealand. Well, into the final kilometre. And New Zealand drop their 4th man, with inside 4 laps to go. So the pressure on the 3 remaining riders in the New Zealand squad to try and up the pace. Meanwhile, the Australians still with all 4 riders line astern as they go down the home straight. It's Connor Stead who's been dropped by the New Zealand team, so that leaves Aitchison, Goff and Haggerty to complete the distance for New Zealand. But it's not too far away from Australia being in the same straight as their opponents here, as we come down to just 2 laps to go. Inside that point now, Australia, now they shed their 3rd man, their 4th man I should say, 3 riders left on the track. 3rd rider is the one who will record the time. But Australia, they've been in the lead since the start. And as we come into the final lap, the Australians are heading for a gold medal here. The form from the qualification round being reflected here in the final. Australia, they celebrate, and deservedly so. They take the gold medal in a time of 4:06.159, and a valiant effort by New Zealand, taking the silver with 4:12.211.
This is the ride-off for medals in the men's team sprint. 3 men, 3 laps. This, first of all, the ride-off for bronze. In the home straight, European gold medalists Germany, Maximilian Dornbach, Jan May and Patrick Rahm. And in the back straight for New Zealand, Quinn Karkowski, Jeremy Presbury and Callum Saunders.
So here we go for the ride for the bronze medal in the men's team sprint. It was Germany who clocked the faster qualification time, almost half a second ahead of their opponents here in New Zealand. And look at this, man one for New Zealand has gone away like the proverbial rocket, but the other 2 riders fighting to get onto his wheel. In the meantime, the Germans with a much better drilled start, but honours even after the opening lap. Slight advantage, in fact, in favour of New Zealand by that very fast start by the lead rider. And heading for the final lap, and the final riders take up the effort here to try and land the bronze medal in this men's team sprint final. Black colours of New Zealand, the white colours of Germany, and it's Germany who'll get there first, 45.581, and the bronze medal for the team of Germany, just beating the team of New Zealand in 46.363.
So here we go for the big one for the men in the team sprint finals. This for the gold medals and the championship, and of course the silver medals too. In the home straight we have the defending world champions and the current world record holders from Australia. Australia represented by Jai Angsuthasawit, Patrick Constable and Alexandra Radzikovic. In the back straight, we have the European silver medalists from last month representing the Russian Federation, Alexander Dubchenko, Vyacheslav Fedin and Sergei Gorlov.
So we've already seen Australia take on Russia in the women's team sprint final. Now it's the turn of the men. These teams are very evenly matched in qualification earlier in the day. The Australians just marginally faster, which is why they started in the home straight, as opposed to the Russians who started in the back. At the completion of the first lap, nothing to choose between them. Quick glance behind by the Australian team to just make sure the Russians aren't gaining ground too rapidly. And they're still very evenly matched here. This one's going to come right down to the wire, I suspect, heading for the second change. And Australia versus Russia for one more lap to determine who will take the gold medal. Half a lap to go. Still, you cannot split these teams by eye. It'll all come down to the final time. Here they come into the finishing straight now. Australia in the home straight, Russia in the back straight. Oh, that was really close. Well, we wait confirmation of the finishing time. So, confirmation that the time for Australia, 45.639, and the time for Russia, 45.714. So the gold medal goes to the team of Australia.
Wow, what a fantastic start to the event here in Glasgow. We've got 4 more days of great riding to come though, so I do hope you'll join us again tomorrow. Goodbye.